400 years. That's how long the Persian Empire had ruled, vast, ancient, and proud. But every empire, no matter how mighty, faces its reckoning. It is the year 636 CE. To the west, a new power is rising, the armies of the Rashidun Caliphate, forged in faith and discipline. To the east, the Sassanid Empire, the jewel of Persia, struggles to hold together against revolt, plague, and exhaustion. And in one desert plain near the river Euphrates, the two worlds collide. This is the story of Al-Qadisiyyah, where the old world met the new. The Persian Empire was ancient, majestic. Its kings called themselves Shahanshah, King of Kings. But years of war against Byzantium had drained its strength. In the chaos that followed, thrones changed hands like dice. By the time the Muslim armies approached, Persia's greatest general, Rostam Farrokhzad, had been forced to restore order himself. He was a warrior poet, proud and loyal, but he knew his empire was crumbling. To the south, in the newly unified lands of Arabia, the Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab had a vision. He wanted peace, but he knew peace would never come while the Persians raided his borders. So he sent a small, disciplined army eastward, not as conquerors, but as a test of faith. Their commander was Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, one of the Prophet's earliest companions, calm, strategic, and deeply religious. From Medina, Umar wrote him letters filled not with military orders, but reminders of justice, humility, and unity. This was to be no war of vengeance. It was a war of survival and of destiny. The two armies met near the small village of Al-Qadisiyyah on the western edge of Persia. The Persians arrived first, with around 60,000 men, armored cavalry, archers, and 33 war elephants, their most feared weapon. The Arabs numbered perhaps 30,000, mostly infantry and light cavalry. They were outnumbered, outarmed, but not outwilled. Before the battle began, Rostam and Sa'd exchanged envoys. The Persians, confident, mocked the Arabs as desert wanderers. The Arabs replied simply, "We have come to free mankind from the worship of men to the worship of God." That line, carried by faith, not arrogance, spread through both camps like fire. Even the Persian soldiers began to whisper about it. When the sun rose on the first day, the Persian war elephants advanced, massive, unstoppable, terrifying. The ground shook beneath their feet. Arab horses panicked. Men were crushed under tusks and armor. It seemed the day was lost, but the Muslims adapted quickly. They targeted the elephants' eyes with arrows and spears, and when those beasts fell, the morale of the Persians cracked. Night fell, and both sides withdrew to lick their wounds. It was only the beginning. Over the next 3 days, Qadisiyyah became a storm of dust, blood, and faith. On the second day, the battle raged again from dawn to sunset. Rostam commanded from his chariot, directing waves of cavalry and archers. Sa'd, stricken by illness, directed the Muslim army from a rooftop nearby, sending runners to carry his orders. From his perch, he watched men fight with unbreakable determination, shouting "Allahu Akbar" as they held the line. By evening, both sides were exhausted. Thousands lay dead. Still no one yielded. That night, a sandstorm swept across the plain. Visibility dropped to nothing. Under that cloak of chaos, the Muslims regrouped. And at dawn, the third day began. The day history would turn. As the storm cleared, the Muslims launched a full assault on the Persian center. They isolated the elephants, blinding and killing them one by one. Panic spread. Rostam's chariot overturned as the wind tore through his camp. He tried to rally his men, but confusion reigned. A Muslim warrior named Hilal ibn Ulafa spotted Rostam and leapt upon him. In the melee, Rostam was struck down, thrown into the river, his heavy armor dragging him beneath the water. When word spread that Rostam was dead, the Persian army broke. The battle that had lasted 4 days was finally over. The field of Al-Qadisiyyah fell silent, littered with the banners of an empire that would never rise again. When news reached Caliph Umar in Medina, he wept, not in triumph, but in humility. He ordered that no treasures from Persia be kept for himself. They were to be distributed fairly, for this victory belonged to faith, not ambition. The road to the Persian capital, Ctesiphon, now lay open. Within months, the city would fall, and with it, the Sassanid Empire, 4 centuries of power, vanished into history. Yet the story of Al-Qadisiyyah is not one of conquest alone. It is a story of change, of how a small army of believers defeated a superpower, not through numbers, but through unity and purpose. It marked the end of one era and the beginning of another, the dawn of a civilization that would shape science, art, and philosophy for centuries. And in the wind that still blows across that plain today, you can almost hear the echo of that first call to battle. We have come to free mankind. Thank you for watching WarDrawn, The Fall of an Empire. If this story moved you, like, share, and subscribe, and tell us in the comments which battle you want to see next. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and remember, simple lines, complex wars.